For the last 2 months, the Kwalisel bus terminal, commonly known as Baganda Bus Park, has become a battleground pitting the family of the late Charles Muhangi against businessmen Drake Lubega and Mansour Matovu. In turn, the traders forsaken and trapped in this blind alley have become pawns in a deadly game. The traders forsaken and trapped in this blind alley have become pawns in a deadly game that has spanned over a decade. The police are eager to enforce orders of their masters as the traders have been at the receiving end of the stick. This never-ending row is sullied with mysterious deaths, corruption allegations, conflicting directives from government officials and powerful individuals, fanning the fight from the background. Charles Muhangi, the founding director of Horizon Coaches and a founding member of the Uganda Bus Operators Association Limited, UBOA, which initially owned the land, was found dead in his bed at his home in Buzega last December. His associates suspect foul play, but regardless, his death cast a dark shadow on resolving the property ownership row. Lionel Muhangi, one of the successor directors of Horizon Coaches, says the matter smacks of suspicion.
We have parties that were not involved in the court proceedings of how the land was distributed, suddenly having anonymous powers of claims to the land without any basis of having a legitimate title. For one, they're using fraudulent documents.
However, a post-mortem report by Mulago Hospital revealed Muhangi died of a heart attack and no evidence suggests that he died of foul play. There's nothing lofty about this piece of land, which is almost an acre, apart from its towering buildings that gradually rise from the untidy and congested settings in downtown. Yet for the businessmen keen to keep alive their fabled rags to riches tale, this piece of land, valued at 120 billion shillings, means everything. We trace this conflict to 2002, when the Uganda Bus Operators Association Limited was granted a 5-year lease for Baganda Bus Park along Nachivuvu Road by then Kampala City Council. The 5-year lease took effect on August 1, 2002. It was renewable 49 years after, upon completion of the agreed developments with KCC. KCC, then headed by Mayor John Tsebana Kizito, demanded 1 billion shillings as premium from UBOA. UBOA's directors approached Kobil Uganda Limited to join the project. Kobil staked 600 million shillings in exchange for a piece of land to build a petrol station, while the remaining money was mobilized by UBOA directors. Though UBOA had promised Kobil to build a petrol station as part of the modern bus terminal, KCC declined to give the project a green light, which meant that UBOA had to pay back Kobil's 600 million shillings. But as part of developing the area, KCC allowed UBOA to sublease the land for commercial structures. Towards expiry of the lease and seeing no development on the land, UBOA had only built an office. The Kobil debt had accumulated to 1.1 billion shillings, and seeing that UBOA was way behind schedule, the Mayor Sebana Kizito invited the directors for talks and advised them to sublease the land. Hamim Sentongo, the UBOA chairman, says the arrangement to sublease the land benefited only John Sebalamu, John Bosco Muonge, Christine Nabukera, and the late Charles Muhangi by virtue of his majority shareholding in UBOA, and they do not know about Drake Lubega or his associates.
Ebintu bya Drake ebiwanvu, Drake situmanyi na jajjamanyi, kubanga bwe tugamba nti ebintu bya Drake ebiwanvu, Drake tamanyi kooti, Drake tamanyi kakiiko konna.
According to documents seen by NTV, the period of 2001 to 2006 was marred by events. On November 10, 2005, the UBOA board removed Horizon Coaches from directorship. At the time this happened, the late Muhangi was in prison in Mbarara over a shooting incident in the park. The wrangling amongst UBOA directors was complicated further by another suit in which Kobil sued KCC after City Hall rejected the proposal to build a petrol station. The suit resulted into a consent judgment in 2006, Under this deal, the lease was transferred to John Sebalamu, Christine Nabukera, John Bosco Muonge, and newcomers Tom Smith Semuwemba and Drake Lubega. Lubega quickly built an arcade, and using his clout, he subleased another part to Mansour Matovu.
N'omusajja azimba kiro na misana teri amugamba nako.
When we contacted him, Lubega declined an interview, saying as the rightful owner, he was not bound to convince anyone. Fred Dukusoka, the former Horizon Coaches operations manager, says there was foul play on the case of KCC.
KCCA acknowledged that the land was for Horizon Coaches, and it even wrote to Drake warning him that you are trespassing on what? Horizon Coaches, and the construction was what? Illegal. Then we go to land office, we complained that these people were using wrong documents, which were, that's when KCC surrendered its triplicate title to be used to issue a title in the names of Uboa, which was eventually transferred to Sebalamus and Drake Lubega and Tom Smith Semuwemba, like that. So we challenged that title. And actually, it was established by the land office that the title was issued in error by a junior officer.
In 2011, the late Muhangi petitioned the president, who directed the Lands Ministry to look into this matter. The Lands Ministry constituted a committee of inquiry whose recommendations compelled Lubega to petition court. According to the committee's report, Godfrey Nangumya, the late Muhangi's once trusted lawyer, during hearings, claimed that Horizon Coaches embezzled 1.6 billion shillings belonging to Uboa. The committee noted, and I quote, Uboa did not possess the powers to divest Horizon Coaches of its shares. The officers of Uboa took the law in their hands to divest Horizon Coaches of its shares, and consequently, the land it was supposed to own, full stop, and consequently, the land it was supposed to own, close quotes. Nonetheless, the committee recommended, among others, that mediation should be adopted in order to bring this protracted and costly dispute to a quick, amicable and peaceful solution. Nonetheless, the committee recommended, among others, that, I quote, mediation should be adopted in order to bring this protracted and costly dispute to a quick, amicable and peaceful conclusion, close quotes. Upon receiving the report, President Museveni on July 2011 advised the Lands Ministry to cancel all titles on the disputed land if they were fraudulently acquired. Lubega petitioned the Constitutional Court, arguing that the President did not have powers to order for the cancellation of titles. The Constitutional Court dismissed grounds that the wording in the President's letter of cancelling the titles if were acquired fraudulently did not appear to meet the definition of a directive or an instruction. In April 2015, the Constitutional Court ordered Lubega to respect the status quo where Muhangi remained the landlord. In 2017, a panel of justices of the Supreme Court, led by Jotham Tumwesige, dismissed an appeal in which Lubega was challenging the Constitutional Court verdict. From courts of law through mediation to the highest office in the land, the parties in the conflict have rejected an amicable solution. NTV has learned that Muhangi died barely a few hours before a meeting the President had scheduled between him, Lubega and Matovu. The meeting would be outside the arena of courts, which have the competence and jurisdiction to dispense justice. But in February this year, prompted by a letter from the Attorney General, Lubega and Matovu emerged as the new landlords, seeking rent arrears for 5 months retrospectively. They also threatened to evict any trader who continues to pay rent to Horizon Coaches. In February, the Police Director Legal Affairs, Erasmus Twaruhuka, wrote to the Commander Kampala Metropolitan Police to evict the late Muhangi's Horizon coaches from the property. This letter was premised on a meeting he had held with the Deputy Attorney General Mwesigwa Ruktana. And I quote, "The purpose of this communication is to relay position of the matter, which is that Lubega should be in possession of the premises in question as the matter of ownership awaits court's jurisdiction. The matter therefore is to instruct that you ensure that possession of the premises returns to Mr. Lubega. Any property that is aggrieved by this decision is advised to seek court redress." Close quotes. Twaruhuka had earlier on told the Commander Kampala Metropolitan Police in a letter dated 26 September 2019 to maintain the status quo with Muhangi's Horizon coaches as the sitting landlords. And I quote, "In the meantime, you will ensure that status quo reverts to what it was before the receipt of my instructions of my letter 24th January 2019 and that from the Office of the Attorney General dated 23rd January by ensuring that Horizon Coaches takes repossession of the premises." Kampala Lord Mayor Erias Lukwago told NTV that the latest unfounded directives from the Attorney General's office have sowed more seeds of confusion in a straightforward case.
The Attorney General is arrogating himself powers of court to determine who should be in charge. That is very absurd. It's wrong. And that's where the confusion stems from.
On Thursday this week, the Land Court Assistant Registrar, Justin Atukwasa, dismissed an application by Horizon Coaches for an interim order to block Drake Lubega from undertaking further developments on the disputed property. Muhangi's lawyers want this stopped until a verdict in the main suit failed earlier in 2014 by the late Muhangi in the High Court, seeking recovery of the same disputed land is delivered. KCCA says they are aware of ongoing construction on the disputed land, but they have never approved any plans for development.
There is no permission or approval of a plan for the development on plot 50 to 52 Nachivo Road, which is a property that is known to belong to some private individual. But we have issued a notice. We've issued a notice halting any developments thereon on 4th of March 2019.
Horizon Coaches says its key interest is the land on which Lubega and Matovu illegally constructed their shopping malls. The Deputy Attorney General Mwesigwa Ruktana last week updated Parliament on the row after lawmakers raised it as a matter of national concern.
The Drake Lubegas, to the best of my knowledge, using the rescission of the letter, provide upon police again to take back possession. That is the position I know. After they are taking it back, the man is also tried to use police to regain possession. There were scuffles.
Where the Attorney General comes in is that the Attorney General has been part of who determines who is the rightful person to be on ground. The letter from the Uganda Police Force clearly earmarks the meetings in which the Attorney General participated. And the person who gives permission for Drake Lubega and Mansour Yanga to take back possession after the death of Charles Muhangi cites the Attorney General.
Fed up with this state of affairs, a group of 292 tenants renting on the shopping malls under dispute last week sued their feuding landlords of a business wrangle that has led them to incur losses.
Zili mu parliamenti basitule speaker Kadaga ne MP wa wano Nsereko bajje wano ne balandlord ba wano basobole okwogera ensonga zino batubulire landlord omutuufu n'empapula za court order fe tusobole okuwaayo sente zaffe nga tuli bagumu. But the
immediate issue would be to cater for the tenants first, create some sort of pseudo account or some offshore account, something that the government can do that they can be paying to whilst we're still in court disputing who is the owner, so that that issue is solved.
By the look of things, it will take more than just court pronouncements to put this matter to rest.
Given the fact that These documents come from the Office of the President, from the Attorney General's chambers, from the IGP's office, and then the forces swing into action to keep guard of the premises in favor of Drake Rubega. That also tells volumes on the complex issues involved, which suggests that actually they are vested interests of highly connected people within the government.
In another surprise twist, the departed Asians Property Custodian Board last month wrote to both Drake Lubega and Uboa, laying claim over the land and warning against any ongoing developments, which it said will attract a penalty of $500,000 or 1.8 billion shillings. The litigants for now can only hope that justice should not be delayed and must manifestly be dispensed.